Hello and welcome to Windows Server 2019 training. I'm Scott Petersen and I'm a long-time server administrator managing both Windows and Linux servers. Today I'm going to show you how to install Hyper-V on a Windows Server 2019 data center to be able to virtualize your environment. The prerequisites for this tutorial is that you have a Windows machine or a VMware ESXi. And of course you need an internet connection in case any files has to be downloaded from the Windows update. Any other requirements is that you have, for example, a virtual or physical machine, but that's pretty basic. That's kind of implicit in the prerequisites. A quick summary here is that I'm going to install Hyper-V using Powershell. I'm going to show you how to do it in Server Manager before I do it in Powershell. I'm going to show you how to install the Hyper-V Manager as well using Powershell. It will automatically be done with the Powershell with the Server Manager. Then I will spin up a few virtual machines using PowerShell. Well, first of all, I'll do it with the Hyper-V Manager and then with the PowerShell. And then I will connect to a Hyper-V machine using PowerShell or well, connect. I'll use the VM Connect, which is a console connect in PowerShell, and I'll use the same in Hyper-V Manager. Just a quick disclaimer before I continue here. Using this information in this tutorial is entirely at your own risk. I say this because if you do something in your environment that is not fit for your environment and you use it in production and it doesn't work and you lose data or whatever you do, well, then you must know what you're doing. But this way you can test it out in a test environment, and then you can move it on to production as when you know that it is working. So just hold on a second here. First of all, I will show you how to do it in the Server Manager here. Let me just see, manage and add roles and features, and here you just say skip this page by default or by default. And on this one it says role-based or feature-based installation, which is fine. Select the server from the pool, from the server pool, just select the default. Here you click the Hyper-V and say add features. This will add all the features that you have actually. If you uncheck it and check it again, then it will actually not come up with that box because it has already added these features to the system or to this list here. And it's down here. It's the Remote Server Administration Tools, or called RSAT, Hyper-V Management Tools, as you can see here. Next, and Hyper-V, here you can set up the virtual switch. This will set up a virtual switch which can connect to the internet from the guests. And if you want migration, you can set that up. And default stores, we won't cover that in this tutorial because this is actually requiring that you have machines connected. So to perform a live migration, as you can see here, it must be logged onto the source server as well. So which is going to continue. And here the default, in this case, I would actually use the Hyper-V virtual hard disk, and that's it. And restart, of course, and then just install. I won't do it in this tutorial because I'm going for the Windows PowerShell way of doing this. And to do this, you will just simply type enable Windows. Let me just see if I can Windows optional feature. Sorry, there. And online means this is a machine, and feature name would then be Microsoft Hyper-V. All right, and here you can go on and say, okay, I want all subsequent features, and I want the no restart switch, which will tell the machine not to restart when it is done and installing. This is one of two commands that I have to run when I do this. I could just use the server manager, but I mean, just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll use Powershell, as I've already shown you how to do it using the server manager. And then I will add Windows feature, and I will just do the rsat, which is rsat, and then hyper-v tools. That's it. There we go. When this is done, I will reboot the computer, and I'll just use the shutdown. It's like a shutdown program. Actually, it's an executable file here. So it's pretty basic. And when I've done that, I will just begin to set up the external switch and everything using the Hyper-V manager. So let's just wait for this to finish, and then we'll restart this. All right, there we go. Shut. There we go. Shut down. Let's use the R for restart or reboot, and the T for time, and 0 for now. Okay. We're just waiting for this to come back online here. I'm just going to do it like that. All right. So here we are. I am actually using a Hyper-V machine which is running in a nested environment, and for that I need to allow this machine to spoof its MAC address. If I don't do that, then my subsequent guests will not be able to log on to the internet. So I've just activated that on my host here. Okay, so now I am logging in, and as you can see here, I get this very same screen up right away. Don't show that one, and close this server manager. Actually, just quickly, in the server manager, when you have installed Hyper-V manager, you will see Hyper-V on over here where it says servers. All right. So let's just wait for it to actually reload, and when it is done reloading, it will pop up with the Hyper-V here. As you can see here, got all the information about this machine, computer name, everything. You see the Hyper-V came up now, it didn't come up before. And using the Hyper-V, you can shut down local server, you can configure NIC teaming, and you can go to the Hyper-V manager as well. So you can do some stuff here inside of this too. So we won't be doing that as of right now. So just shut down this one, and you will see that it has come here under Windows Administrative Tools. Just right-click it and pin it to the taskbar, because we're going to use that at least quite a lot. I'm going to do the same with the Windows PowerShell here. It's taskbar, so we have that handy here. All right, so done that. We open this Hyper-V manager, and the first thing that we're going to do is that we click the WinUFJ, well, the local machine here, and we create a new virtual switch. And we create an external switch which will be able to connect to the internet. So external, and we allow it to allow management operating system to share this network adapter. This means that it will get access to the outside world. So just say OK and say yes, we allow it to actually disconnect from the internet and come back again. Okay, with that done, we are actually ready to create a new virtual machine. So if we just click new virtual machine here, on the first page we just do not show this page again, and here we can say win server 1. And we want this information stored in c/\hyper-v. I created this folder on beforehand, as you can see here, Hyper-V, and I put in the Win Server 2019 Datacenter ISO, so that we have that to be able to install Windows Server. And we're going to make it generation 2. The difference between generation 1 and 2 is that generation 2 actually supports the UEFI based firmware, and it only supports 64-bit, whereas the generation 1 will support 32-bit as well. And we're going to give it like 4 GB of RAM in this case, so there we go. We are not going to use dynamic memory. Dynamic memory means that you are able to give it like, for example, you say startup memory should be 512 megabyte, and then you could get it all the way up to, well, whatever is left of the system here. So we're going to give it 4 GB and just click next. And we're going to give it the external switch here. There we go. And we're going to create an OS disk in this case. OS. Okay. And just 15 GB. And as you see, it already prefixed it with the Hyper-V, Win Server 1, and virtual hard disks. And installation options, we are going to add the ISO. We could browse for the file, or we could just simply begin to type this this path here, Hyper-V Win Server ISO. All right, and next, and then we could click finish, and let's just hit finish here. So now it has set up everything. The only thing that it has not set up is the amount of vCPUs. So let's just up that to 2, just for this purpose here. And click OK, and there we go. Now I'm going to click connect, because if I click start now, it will actually really fast go past the click any key to enter the installation of the Windows. So I'm just going to click start here and press any key, and here we got a fully functional Windows Server 2019 installation. So we could go through this installation right now, but I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to show you that it is actually doing as it should do. So let's just see, setup is starting. And then we could say that the 2019 Datacenter evaluation and desktop experience, I accept. And now I'll show you that it has indeed the 15 GB drive. All right, so actually, just to save a little bit of time, I could actually click next and let it install, but then, well, yeah, let's just do that. It's actually fine. So this will begin the installation. While this is running, I will just minimize it, and then I will open my PowerShell here. It's already running as administrator, so I will just do it a little bit smaller here. And then I will show you how to do it in PowerShell. It is actually pretty straightforward. I like to set up some variables first. So let's do that here. Let's see if it allows me. Okay, yeah. So VM name should be, in this case, we call it Win Server 2, and we could call VM path should be C /Hyper-V. That's the path for our VMs, and then I could use the sys ISO path, which would be C /Hyper-V and win srv 2019 dtc.iso. All right, and then we could set up the switch name, VM switch ch name equals the external switch. All right. And we could use some hard drive space, which is just 15 gigabyte as the other one. Memory, 4 gigabyte. And let me see, vCPUs would be just 2 in this case. And then we can go ahead and just create our first Windows server using Powershell. And we just do like new VM, which is actually pretty straightforward, as you can see. Here, new VM, and we call it VM name. There we go. And we have a path for that, which should be in the VM path. And we are going to tell this new VM function to create a new VHD file as well. And we want to put that in the VM path plus the VM name, plus virtual hard disks, plus let's say VM name. We have a naming convention that we use the VM name as the prefix for the disks. So let's do that here as well. And os.vhdx file. Okay. And then we could say new VHD size bytes. We want it to be the HD because that's the 15 gigabyte. And we could also say the memory. Startup byte should be the memory. And we cannot specify the virtual CPU, so we are not going to do that here. So we are going to put it as a generation 2. And the switch name should be VM switch name. Okay, so basically that would actually create the Windows server. And that's done. Okay, so to be able to set the vCPUs, we should run a next command here, which should be, there we go, the VM name. And the processor count should be then the vCPUs. And we are not going to change anything about static memory because it's actually per default. So now we have 2 vCPUs. Let's just check it out right here. Settings. See, we have 2 virtual servers. We have 4 gigabyte. We have right now boot from network adapter. And we have the external switch. And we have 1 drive. So let's just head back to this virtual server here. Now we're going to add the VM DVD drive, and we are going to add it to the VM name here, and the path is going to be the sys ISO path, and the controller number is going to be 0 because we only have 1 controller, and the controller location I'm going to set that to 2 because I'm going to add another VHD later on. While we're waiting. Okay, and then we are going to get that VM DVD drive here. We are going to say get VM DVD drive, VM name, controller number, and controller location is actually not important in this case, but we could do it, but it's not necessary. We're only going to use this to be able to set the first boot device here. So set VM firmware on VM name. Sorry about that. VM name, and first boot device should be the VM DVD drive, and that's it. So now I'm going to connect to the VM connect localhost and win server 2. So it will open up the localhost console, and I'm just going to click start here. press any key, and we got the exact same installation as before on Win Server 1. So we know that this works, okay? I'm actually just going to close this one down, and I'm going to stop the VM name, and VM name, done. It's turned off. And we're going to connect to, we are already connected here. We're going to type in password, as you can see here. There we go. And now we have a fully running virtual server here. So let's just PASS word. Good. Let's see if it actually connects to the internet as well, as it should do. The host is actually connected, as you can see. And I'm not able to see that. Yeah, it did connect. I'm not able to see that because right now the display settings are a little bit out of proportions here, so I'm just going into a 800 by 600, and you can see that it's actually connected to the internet. Alright, so if I wanted to go into this machine here and just type the IP config, then I would be able to just see that the IP number is this. And if I go to the host and say, for example, ping 172.17.217.249, then I will not get any kind of data because I don't have access to the host from this machine. For that, I would create an internal adapter and then connect the two between or in this case, yeah, I would do it because I'm running a nested environment. Otherwise, I would probably just bridge the two, the virtual network adapter with the server adapter. So in this case, I'm not going to do that right now. What I wanted to show you is that if I, for example, have my disk management here, you can see I only have disk 0 and CD-ROM 0. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new VHD. So new VHD path and parent path. I don't need that. Size bytes, dynamic. Yeah. Okay. So the path here is going to be the VM path plus the VM name, of course. That is what we had from before. Virtual hard disks. And then we're going to add the VM name again because that's our naming convention. And we're going to add data.vhdx and the size bytes, we're going to give it 5 GB there, and we are going to make it dynamic, and that is actually it for now. Yeah. So now we have created a new VHD, but we haven't actually attached it to the machine. So we're going to do that. Add DVD VM hard disk drive here, and we are going to use the VM name for. In this case, we're not going to use the VM name because we are going to change it to the Win Server 1. So let's just VM name Win Server 1 there. Add VM hard disk drive to the VM name Okay, and the path should then be, well, controller number should be 0 and controller location should be 1 because we have 1, which is actually no, we don't have 1 on this one. We have as you can see here, we only have number 2 because the DVD drive is already taking up spot number 1. So we're going to use control location 2, which doesn't even actually matter here. And we're going to make that the new VHD path here. And that's it. So in this new server, you will see that the disk actually came online here. If we wanted to, we could resize this disk, resize VHD, and the path should then again be new VHD.path, and the size could be, for example, 8 GB and nothing else. There we go. So now we got an 8 GB disk instead of 5 GB disk. If we just refresh here, just take a moment. Action, refresh, and it should actually update to 8 GB. Yeah, there we go. Now, you might think that you would be able to resize it down again, but you cannot do that because it doesn't have any kind of partitioning information on the disk. So if we just do this, we put it online and try again, still no partition information. So if we initialize the disk, we might be able to do that. So initializing the disk will actually make it's susceptible to resizing, but not before you have actually initialized it. So if we refresh, you'll be able to see that it's now 4 GB. All right. That said, I think that we have gone over almost any basic feature that you could do here on this machine. Well, in this tutorial, if you want to restart the machine, you could say restart VM, and then you could say, for example, the VM name should be VM name or whatever name that you want to. If you have a list of names, you could just restart it, and then you could force it, or you can also say type should be, for example, reboot or reset. In a reboot scenario, it will actually power down the machine and power it up again, as it should do, the good way. And as you can see here in the PowerShell command, it is still waiting for it to finish. Now it finished, and you'll be able to see that it is fully refreshed here, fully reset here, or rebooted. And we can log in again here. Did I leave out anything? Did I actually? I think yeah, there we go. What else could we figure out to do here? Yeah, let's do something here. We could also export the VM here. That would give us the possibility to, for example, take the VM name there and export it, and we can export it live. It's running, as you can see here, and the path, let me just see, the path should capture live state, capture crash consistent, or data consistent, or safe state, and we'll just leave it to default. I don't think that we actually need to specify that parameter, so the only thing that we have to is to specify the path. And the path in this case, we could just say, let's say that could be C// Hyper-V. Let's create a backup folder here, and that should actually be sufficient here. I don't know if it actually creates the backup folder itself, but let's just hit this and see what's going on here behind the scenes. Yeah, it did. And it automatically puts it in the Win Server 1. So the Win Server 1 is just collecting all these information and putting them into the correct directories in the backup folder, so that you can actually import it to again. As you can see here, it was really fast because it's a really small server, but we could import as well using the same commands here actually. But I think that I have actually gone a little bit beyond what I initially wanted to do with this tutorial, but I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I hope that the sound is okay. I've had some problems with the sound. Otherwise, I just hit the like button and feel free to subscribe to my channel as well. See you soon.